This is After the Flag. A warm welcome to the Autodromo Termas de Rio Hondo as we round up the second Grand Prix weekend of the 2023 season. And a scintillating sprint yesterday, and the riders were certainly put to the test here this afternoon in wet conditions at the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. And MotoGP has a brand new Grand Prix winner and a brand new championship leader. His name is Marco Bezzecchi. My name is Louis Suddaby. Alongside me is Simon Crafar to break down what was an intriguing Argentinian Grand Prix, but it was a demonstration from Marco Bezzecchi. The way he won that Grand Prix would give you the impression that he was a veteran who'd won many, many MotoGP races, but that was his very first. Just how impressed were you by not just the fact that he won, but how he won?
Marco's impressed me repeatedly recently. I mean, at the last After the Flag, the last race, I said he had Lorenzo-like speed and consistency. I was exaggerating a little bit on the speed, but the consistency is so impressive. Today, he deserves both. He had the speed. I mean, it wasn't just in the wet race. It was all weekend. Dry conditions. It was clear coming in to the sprint that he was the fastest man on track, you know, and he proved it again, or he proved it in the dry and again in the wet, and the consistency thing. He's had that talent from the day he turned up to MotoGP. He's been impressing us with that. Even when he had no experience on the bike, he can bang those laps out without making mistakes. Quite amazing.
Yeah, bar for a superhuman performance from Brad Binder, Marco Bezzecchi will probably be leaving here with the double in Termas de Rio Hondo. And as we mentioned, the way he won was incredible. The relentless pace that he's showing out front. Just how much of a challenge is that? Whether you're experienced or whether you're inexperienced, whether you've won 70 Grand Prix in MotoGP or whether you haven't won any, to have to set that pace in front. He took the lead at turn one and then didn't see another motorcycle for the rest of the Grand Prix, basically racing against his pit board. How big a challenge is that, no matter how experienced you are, to try and manage that pace in conditions such as that?
That's a good question. Basically, when you have no one to chase and no one putting pressure on behind, it's so easy for your mind to wander. And he made a reference to it in Parc Ferme, saying he was talking to his bike and, trying to keep focused, because it isn't easy. You know, you're kind of out there completely alone with no other references. In my experience, you even start imagining noises from the bike or something that'll let you down, you know. And I think at his age and level of experience and the class, he's managing all that and the pressure, you know, and the skill to be able to repeat the same thing so close. That's what's been impressing me all along with him.
Yeah, so a victory, a first MotoGP race victory for Marco Bezzecchi. We'll come back to him in a little bit once we hear from him. We'll be getting his reaction with Matt Birt during the show. But the first lap of the Grand Prix saw a bit of drama, a bit of contact. We saw the sprint winner yesterday, Brad Binder, out of the Grand Prix. Contact with Maverick Vinales. That seemed something of a racing instance. Is that how you saw it? It was two riders going for the same piece of racetrack side by side, and ultimately one of them was going to come out the wrong side of it. In this occasion, it was Brad.
Yes, I'll be honest. I'm on the fence with it. I wouldn't have been surprised if it had gone either way. I'm not trying to say I agree one way or the other, because it is very difficult. Brad wouldn't have crashed if he hadn't got touched by Maverick, but you know, it's the nature of that corner as well, meaning you have to go a little bit wide to pull it back to get the run onto the straight. And the problem is about going a little bit wide, someone can stuff it in there. And I think that's what happened. And honestly, I'm on the fence with this one. You could have called it either way, steward-wise.
And I think we could probably agree that the stewards were right to perhaps deem that a racing incident. Two corners further round, we saw Taka Nakagami make contact with Fabio Quartararo. That relegated Quartararo to 16th at that point in the Grand Prix. To his immense credit, he came back to finish 7th in that Grand Prix. And speaking off air before we came on the air, Fabio Quartararo will be no doubt frustrated with that, and perhaps, as you were saying, perhaps what will frustrate him most is that was a rider who he probably wasn't expecting to be battling with beyond the first lap of the race.
Well, I'm not on the fence with the Tucker one. I think it was too rough. I would have basically given him a rev at on some level. I'm not saying, I mean, look, and that is a replica of what Tucker did Two, you watch from this angle. You know, Fabio does not expecting at this late point. You're not expecting it. That is a replica of what Tucker did to Fabio at his own GP, and I was quite angry about it. I'm quite angry that he didn't get a rev at that one. He put Fabio off the track at his home GP, and I'm not saying that's not a reason to, but it's extra. And he didn't have the pace to run with Fabio. And again, he didn't have the pace to run with Fabio, put him off the track, cost him valuable ground. Oh, I don't think that's fair. And it's not fair for anyone to do it. You know, I'm not saying it's completely cool, but as a rider, if someone that hasn't got your pace, no chance of fighting you all the way, puts you off the track, it's twice as infuriating. That's the way I see it.
And Fabio Quartararo, as we mentioned, did come back at the end to finish in 7th place in that Grand Prix. With Bezzecchi away at the front, we had an intriguing battle for 2nd place, which for a large part of the race was between Alex Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia and Frankie Morbidelli. Morbidelli, another 4th place for him, so a great weekend for one half of the Monster Energy Yamaha team. It looked like Bagnaia had won the battle, didn't it? It looked like he got the better of Alex Marquez, got into 2nd place, and just as he was pulling away, a mistake from Pecco Bagnaia, and you could see after the race how annoyed he was with that, because of course it was a golden opportunity to bank 20 points. Just how annoyed will he be with the mistake, given that he looked like he'd done the hard work?
Yeah, again, the way that corner is, how you go out wide and you have to pull it back, you actually put a little bit of energy into the bars to get it to turn back to get the exit, and I imagine that's when it let go. He'll be so angry with himself, you know. It was one of those ones, if he'd just, you know, done what Bez did successfully, and that's just keep replicating the laps with no mistakes, no changes. I'll be honest, I feel sorry for him right now, because he'll be so mad with himself. You know?
Yeah, he'll be kicking himself. He loses the World Championship lead to Marco Bezzecchi. As mentioned, the battle for 2nd for a lot of the race was between Pecco Bagnaia, Frankie Morbidelli and Alex Marquez. And it was won by Johann Zarco, who finished in 2nd place. An incredible second half of the Grand Prix. Let's hear from him to tell us how he did it. He's with Matt Birt.
2nd place in a very difficult Argentina Grand Prix goes to Johann Zarco. Johann, you've got a big smile on your face for a very good reason, because at one stage in that Grand Prix, about halfway through, I think you're 8th, 8 seconds away from the podium. Nobody thought you were going to come through and take 2nd, so what a second half. Unbelievable.
What a second half, clearly, and I was happy. This feeling on the wet, good grip on the wet on this track. But so we are using quite a lot the tires, and the others have this advantage at the beginning of the race that they are able to use pretty well the grip of the tire. But then when the grip gets a little bit lower, I can make a difference. So this came after half race. It was a bit of pity, because I expected to have the chance to win in these conditions. But really on the first half, or overall on the first 8 laps, I could not be much faster. I was sliding, almost crashing, plus then the other are fighting too, so was kind of tough. And then was good to see, okay, I can use my line, get advantage. And fortunately we didn't get any, we didn't get 1 lap less. If not, I could not catch Alex. Was just the perfect timing. So I enjoyed it a lot. I tried to understand where is the first one, because I could not see him. And but Bezzecchi has been amazing all the weekend, and he's doing a fantastic job. Really, the VUA 46, Bezzecchi and Marini, all the team, they are doing very strong work, and they are very impressive, and that's the result of it. So I'm here. I will improve the beginning of the races, and then if I can keep this end of the races dry or wet, I will enjoy all the podiums. I really cross fingers to get these situations again.
So around laps 9, 10 or 11, did you think that it was possible to still get the podium? Because like you say, you couldn't even see Frankie Morbidelli or Alex Marquez ahead of you. I mean, at that stage of the race, did you think maybe top 5 will be a good result? But
yeah, I was seeing maybe 3 guys in front, or 3 or 4 guys in front of me, but it's true that I was in 8 positions. Then I say, maybe I need to believe in this podium, but I don't even see it. So, well, just get focused, try to catch as many positions as possible, and then it came pretty well. overall, the last 3 laps really was just Alex and Morbidelli, and I had this extra push. I was happy to be able to have this extra push because, for sure, I could make a difference, but also my tires were getting quite used. And from half race to the end of the race, I was asking a lot to the tires, so bike began to move a lot. So, just perfect. It's good to have this kind of result in Argentina, and I just enjoy it because it was a long time I could not taste the podium.
We certainly enjoyed it as well, Johann. Just quickly before we let you go and celebrate, today showed the real strength that Ducati have this season because the 3 bikes on the podium were independent teams. Marco Bezzecchi, you and Alex Marquez. It just again shows how strong Ducati are going to be in 2023.
Sure. From the technical side, the other brand could know it or see it already in during the winter test. And as I said, Ducati last year proved that it's not only 8 bikes they are able to do competitive, it's 16 bikes because each rider has 2 bikes and the 2 bikes are ready to race. So that was the really biggest challenge, I think, to give enough material to all the teams to be competitive. And now all these satellite teams, apart from Pramac, because Pramac is the old satellite team that has the experience and has the official bike since now many years, but the other team now get used to the Ducati. The riders also could understand well how to use it. So it's great to be in that flow with Ducati in that moment, and I enjoy it. But clearly, congrats to the factory that is Borgo Panigale, because it's amazing what they are able to do off the weekend to prepare the weekend as well as possible.
Yeah, I think today was Bellissimo Bezzecchi and Bellissimo Borgo Panigale. Great job, Johann. Congratulations.
Merci.
Yeah, fantastic job from Johann Zarco. At half distance in that Grand Prix, 13 laps of 25 completed. He was 8.4 seconds away from the second place that he ultimately finished in. You heard him there saying he was racing for a podium that he couldn't actually see at one point in the race. He is such a smart thinker, isn't he, through the race? And it just seems to be the case that in wet races, when the tyres are starting to cry enough in wet conditions at the end, Johann Zarco is able to find a level of grip and confidence that no one else can find.
Yeah, it's true. That's at least the second time I've seen Johann do that. First of all, I'd like to say how I enjoy, I'm sure we all do, enjoy listening to him because he's a pretty straight shooter and says what he's thinking, what he's feeling. Just to get back to how he does this, I don't know the answer exactly, but to do the same thing in the dry, it means the rider flows more and relies less on the stopping and starting, which you need good condition tyres to do. And so I'm guessing that it's the same thing but applied to the wet. Johann knows how to flow and keep it rolling. The guys have an advantage, stopping, starting more. And then when their grip drops off, he keeps it flowing and comes on back. And it's great to see. What a skill.
And once again, for Johann Zarco, as much as a lot of the headlines are made by the other Ducati riders, Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini, and so on, of course, Bezzecchi today, year after year after year, they know they can trust Johann Zarco. They know they can just give him the motorcycle, give him the machinery, and Johann Zarco dependably delivers for them.
Yeah, I just genuinely wonder how many years he can carry on doing this. It's good to see. I just wanted, like I've said repeatedly, I want to see him win one. I think we're going to see a very happy Johann Zarco if he does.
Plenty of opportunities for him this season to do that, of course, with the addition of the sprint. The sprint this weekend was an absolute showstopper, wasn't it? An incredible battle won by Brand Binder. As we said, not KTM's day today. Both races, of course, saw Alex Marquez start from pole position. Missed out on a top 3 yesterday and, of course, was relegated to 5th on the final lap of the Portuguese Grand Prix last weekend. But a fine weekend for Alex Marquez, which, of course, it's very easy to forget, started on Saturday morning with him in qualifying 1, made his way through that session, was then able to take advantage of that wet weather experience earlier in the morning to take pole position. And I think we're already, even 2 races in, we're seeing the real Alex Marquez, aren't we? Of course, there's been difficulties for him in previous years, of course, due to the machinery that he's on. And, of course, he's gaining experience now, but we're seeing Alex Marquez with the Ducati underneath him, the Ducati that was so strong last season, and he's able to pull out the results on a consistent basis.
Yes, I can't say enough how impressed I was with Alex Marquez yesterday in qualifying. You know, he was good in the free practice. He got himself prepared. I really saw work ethic, the way he was out there in difficult conditions, getting himself ready and set up for Q1. And he was in Q1, probably wouldn't have been happy about that. He forced his way through Q1, even with a fall, he made it through, and you can see how happy he was. There was a bit of luck involved there that no one managed to go a bit quicker, but Q2, he was, I think, it was quite genius. He had tricky conditions like we're seeing on track now, then drying with like 4 laps to go. The way he managed to put slicks in and do the job better than anyone else was a really good example of how he can manage conditions, make decisions, much like his brother, you know, and so it's a combination of skill and cunning, clever reading. It's a very difficult thing to do. He did it with class. So enough about yesterday. Today, I just think he continued on that same role of showing us how classy he is, you know. He did something really difficult today. Less experience. He doesn't have that speed at the end like Johann, but, you know, he was fighting with the best guys in the world on the same machinery and brought it home, put it on the podium, didn't fall off. I think basically showing his class all weekend.
Fine third place for Alex Marquez. His first MotoGP podium since Aragon in 2020. First on board a Ducati. You think it's not going to be the last? Here are his thoughts after finishing third today with Matt Birt.
In my mind, I thought about everything.
Alex, congratulations. Just your second weekend with Ducati, a pole position and a podium. That was almost felt like the perfect weekend here in Argentina.
Look like I can be fast. Yeah, I'm super happy. If you asked to me before to come here that I will get the pole, I will get a P5 on the sprint and podium, I would say, okay, sign in any paper. So, I mean, yeah, really happy for that. Today the race was really tough, really long. I mean, Marco was in another level, and from the beginning, from the first lap, he was amazing. We missed the warm-up for a tire problem, for a punchment that I had going out from pit lane, and we were not able to put the electronic side in a good way, so it's what we're missing in the last laps and also in mid-race. But anyway, we are in a progressive, constant progression, and this is something positive. We achieved a lot of points for the championship. This is so long, but we need to keep going and keep working like this.
First time you've raced the Ducati in the rain, what were the real strong points? I mean, obviously it looks like in the dry you've got a lot of confidence, a lot of feeling, and it looked like the same in the rain as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bike that you have a lot of feeling, that you can push a lot also with the front, that never had any strange feeling or something like that. So yeah, just not an easy bike, but an easy bike to get the feeling. So it's something positive. Also in wet, normally I'm quite good about my riding style, but it's true that with the Ducati it's a little bit easier than the Honda.
Alex, I think one of your targets coming into this season was to show a lot of people that maybe doubted you that you are a top-level MotoGP rider already in 2 races. We knew you were, but I think some people now probably are convinced. Do you feel like you are proving people wrong already?
I don't care what the people is thinking. I mean, I believe in myself. I believe that I was making the right choice to put to choose Ducati and Gresini team. I chose that option because I say, okay, I don't want any excuse. I want to be with the best bike, with a proper team. That the Gresini is a proper team, and they are so professional. And that's it. That will depend on me. So it is like it is. But what I say, with just second round, this can change a lot. So we need to keep focused and keep working because, as I said, we are in a constant progression, and it's the most positive thing.
And you didn't have long to look at Marco Bezzecchi, but where was he just stronger today? Because, like you said, he was in a race on his own.
Yeah, he did an amazing warm-up already, and he had really clever strategy from the first lap to start good, to go, and he had more pace. I mean, Zarco in the end, I think he was faster than him, but he have still already a lot of difference. So, I mean, yeah, they ride better than us, and that's it. Is where we need to look in today to improve for the future.
Alex, fantastic to see you back on the podium.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, and we'll see you in Austin in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you so much.
Third place for Alex Marquez today. He says he's not driven by the doubters. I guess he knows in his own mind how good he is. But I guess the positive amongst many that Alex Marquez will take from this weekend is not only is he on the podium, but he's still very early in this Ducati journey. Of course, it's a big adaptation he's had to make across from the Honda. So you feel that Alex Marquez, as a rider and as a package for the Ducati, is only going to improve as the year goes on.
I feel exactly the same, and I'm sure that Alex feels the same. I'll go as fast as I expect, have expected from the start of the season, I still expect it, that Alex will get to a circuit somewhere on our calendar when he's got enough experience with the bike, when he has the electronics set up, like you were saying, weren't quite right. Basically, the bike's ready for him, he's ready, and the circuit suits his style. I believe he can win a dry GP.
Well, the win today went to Marco Bezzecchi, a star certainly born in MotoGP, a first MotoGP Grand Prix win for the young Italian. He gave his post-race thoughts to Matt Birt.
Well, I think there's only one thing to say here in Argentina. It's Bellissimo Bezzecchi. Marco, huge congratulations. It's always a special feeling for a rider to win for the first time in MotoGP. That was not an easy race, probably the longest 25 laps you've had in your life, but tell us your emotions right now after what's a special day for you, your family, the team.
Yeah, as you said, is fantastic. Is something that you can't describe. Is incredible, and you know, it was a very long journey, but finally this moment has come, and I'm very happy because I felt this morning. I felt that I was really good, but then when I saw the rain, I said I was desperate, honestly, because yesterday I felt very well on the bike, and I said tomorrow, if I don't make any mistake, I think that I can really try to win. It was the first time that I thought this in my career, and when I saw the rain, it was a disaster for my emotions. But then in the warm-up, I don't know, I jumped on the bike, and the feeling was incredible, also on the wet. So I said, okay, I can do this, and yeah, in the race was fantastic.
The race, you made it look easy, Marco, but we know it certainly wasn't. But at one stage, you were nearly 8 seconds ahead of everybody else. Where do you think you had the advantage today? Why were you so much stronger than everybody else?
Well, yeah, it was really, really tough because, you know, mentally these kind of races are very hard. And I don't know, honestly. I just felt good, and I was trying to be smooth. I knew that the tire was dropping quick, so I said, okay, I push, but I have to be sweet. I have to be sweet. I have to ride gentle, be gentle with the bike. And I was also speaking to myself, you know, to try to stay concentrated, because the first time I watched the laps remaining was 14. I said, oh, it's quick. But then these last 14 were incredibly long, so yeah, it was tough.
The extra bonus as well, not only your first win in MotoGP, the first win for Muni VR46, but you lead the World Championship as well, Marco, so how does that feel as well after only 2 races, but you're still leading the World Championship?
Yeah, only 2 races, but anyway, it's an emotion that is incredible. I never expected this, honestly. In my mind, I thought about everything, but this never. So it's fantastic. But honestly, I'm happy more for the team because, you know, without them, without Vale and the academy, for me, it was probably impossible. Grazie. Probably impossible to arrive here. So
a special day, as you said. We saw your father was underneath the podium. Valentino Rossi, who's done so much for you. I just wonder what you'd like to say to both of those guys who've done so much to help you for this special moment.
Yeah, to my dad, you know, my family, not only my dad, but my family make sacrifices, and you know, we had to spend a lot of time around Italy in the beginning, but around the world, and I don't see them very much. So, you know, they put a lot of effort to make me realize my dream, and so I will not thank them enough, never, I think. And to Vale the same, because, you know, was my idol, he's still my idol since when I was very young. I started because of him, and you know, to meet him, become his friend, and his rider and arrived to win a MotoGP race is unbelievable. So thanks to him a lot.
First Team VR46 rider to win in MotoGP, to take a pole position on the podium last year, Marco. Absolutely fantastic job for you today. Celebrated with a signed Messi shirt as well, so just capping off the perfect day. Congratulations, Marco.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Grazie.
A class act, isn't he? Marco Bezzecchi is officially a MotoGP winner. Stick around if you're watching live. We'll hear from him very shortly again. The press conference is coming up next. From myself and Simon Crafar, we thank you for joining us. We will see you in 2 weeks' time at the Red Bull Grand Prix of the Americas. But the headline here from Argentina was that Marco was simply the best.